Hello world, it's me again. It's the Don, the Senator of Smooth and Rude, the Czar Style, your internet cousin, coming to you live from the 804, the 75. Why? Cause we global, baby. Yeah. This is the Mansion in the Sky podcast where we build the lamb while we drive. Every day we strive to become envious, which is unconquerable, and influential in every area of your life. Our focus here at the Mansion is to learn lessons from current events, either global or local, and apply it, while staying in the mix about technology, health, and everything in between in a cold, calculated, and ever so changing world. Lighters and envious ones, welcome home. Another beautiful day, another beautiful episode to bring you some news and things that are happening in the world today. Nothing's changing about the format. So first things first is we're gonna roll into the word of the day. Then after that, then we're gonna transition straight into the isms, the Don isms, the Don isms. After the Don isms, then we are gonna go and we're gonna tackle the first topic of today's show on the Mansion in the Sky podcast, which will be the origins of Black History Month. So we're gonna give you a semi deep dive on Black History Month, when it started, who started it, what year it started, what year it became official, and things of that ilk. After that topic, then we will go into the incident that happened at the O'Hare airport. Another plane incident. American Airlines plane strikes United tug at O'Hare. The driver is critically injured, officials say. This happened on the 1st of February. Today is the 2nd. So I believe that driver perished, but we'll just go according to what this article presented to us by ABC tells us. Then after that, then we're going to slide into another article given to us by ABC News, and this is also another aircraft incident. This one is a couple of miles, well, more than a couple of miles east of Chicago. This is in Northeast Philly, at the Northeast Philly airport. A Learjet, which we will look up a picture of what a Learjet 55 is, but it crashed. A child died among 19 people injured in Philly plane crash, and the numbers could still rise. And that's what officials are saying about this particular incident. So we've had a particularly interesting, nerve-wracking week as we have brought in Black History Month. FAA, they punch in the air right now. They have to be punching the air right now. I know I would be. I would definitely be punching the air right now if I was working for the FAA. Because this is just one incident after another, which I don't work for the FAA. I don't work for air traffic control. I'm not a pilot. I'm not a flight attendant. But I am a frequent flyer. I'm sure most of these situations could be avoided, but rest in peace to all the people who have perished in these accidents. And let's continue to celebrate their lives. So moving forward into the day or the word of the day. What is it? What is it? Talk to me.
Presage.
Presage. P-R-E. Let me put it up here. Let me put it up here. Let me put it up here. The word of the day. Once again.
Presage.
Presage. Presage. It's a verb. And it's pronounced
Presage.
presage. What does it mean? To presage something is to give or be a sign that it will happen in the future. Presage is a formal synonym of foreshadow, foretell, and predict. The sudden gloom and ominous dark clouds clearly presage a nasty storm, as in they foretold that a nasty storm was off in the distance, getting ready to rain and wreak havoc over the area. Let's use presage and in context. What we're really looking for are handsome, vigorous chickens who do well in cold climates. Adding birds of different breeds presided an important change in our understanding. Now that it was easier to tell birds apart, the distinct personalities of individuals began to reveal themselves more clearly. Now, you guys know I butcher words every single word of the day, and that's why I do this segment. So, one, I can get my vocabulary way up, two up, three up, but also so I can start to begin to pronounce these words better. And maybe I need to work on these words before I start the episode. But until that day comes when I can get them right the first time, you're just going to have to deal with me cooking and butchering these words. Or lack of cooking, whatever. All right, did you know, although sages, being known for their great wisdom, are sometimes believed to possess the ability to predict the future, there is no connection between the noun sage and the verb presage or presage, which means as you've likely foreseen, to foretell or predict. While sage comes from the Latin verb sapere, which is to be wise, presage or presage comes instead from a different Latin source. The adjective presages, a combination of the prefix pra and sages, meaning prophetic. Presage entered English first as a noun, referring to an omen. That is, something that foreshadows or portends a future event. A couple of centuries later, it was joined by the verb, which is used for the action of foreshadowing, as in the current economic slowdown could presage another recession and may apply to suggesting a coming event or indicating its likelihood. And once again, the word is
Presage.
presage. I was torturing that the whole entire time. Presage.
Presage.
What? How you say it?
Presage.
What's it again?
Presage.
Talk to me one more time.
Presage.
Presage. Presage. It's a verb, and that's the word of the day. All right, let's move into the isms. The isms. The Don isms. The isms. The Don isms. Now, before I get into the Donism, I just want to speak on something that a real one told me way back in the day. And it goes something like, the real one's going to feel this. The fake one's go ahead take a long ass field trip. So let's go ahead and get into it. Shout out to Gary V. Gary V and Coach Prime for the inspiration on this segment today. Nobody gives a fuck about you or me or anybody. They care about their own shit. Here is why I'm always happy. I know who the fuck I am. And I'm telling you, nobody gives a fuck. That humility is everything. Pause. What's humility mean? Let's take a trip back to Merriam and Webster. Humility, Humility. Noun. Freedom from pride or arrogance. The quality or state of being humble. That humility is everything. Everybody's so insecure because they aren't fucking humble. Hold up. Webster, talk to me again. Insecure. And I'm going to put this on widescreen. Insecure, adjective. Deficient in assurance. Beset by fear and anxiety. Not highly stable or well adjusted. Not confident or sure. Not adequately guarded or sustained. Not firmly fashioned or fixed. Unable to reliably afford or access what is needed to meet one's basic needs. Insecure. Because everybody's so insecure because they aren't fucking humble. Hold up. Humble? What's humble? What's humble? Talk to me. Talk to me, Webster. Talk to me. Not proud or haughty. Not arrogant or assertive. You think you're supposed to be somebody? Once you realize you're nothing, then you can't be beat. Just be happy. Just be happy. Now, understand, we're all somebody. But it's earned, not given. Respect is earned. Money is earned. Everything in this world is earned. Except maybe oxygen and water. But even that's up for debate. Okay? This is something that I'm still in the process of mastering right here. Is that ain't nobody coming to save your ass and nobody cares because they got their own shit going on. So you need to get more selfish, be more humble, be more secure in yourself, and bitch, be happy. Bitch, be happy. Because ain't nobody's coming to save your ass, man. Nobody's coming to save your ass. And if you got people who are willing to help you, you better be blessed. And you better pray to whoever it is that you pray to. Well, I guess that light's just going to change colors today. But, yeah. You better be glad. You better be blessed. You better be thankful. Now, Coach Prime. Shout out to Coach Prime. Coach Prime. Coach Prime. Why do you continuously doubt yourself? Why don't you believe? God brought you this far, protected you, and gave you just enough. So if you believe, have faith, and don't doubt he could do so much more, all you got to do is believe, baby. Let's go. You got to believe in yourself. You got enough. You have everything it takes to make it. You have everything. And I know sometimes it's hard to believe that and hard to understand and hard to think that. Because this is a cold, calculated, ever so changing world. It's competitive. Somebody wants your spot. Some people want to pull you down. Some people smile in your face. Backstabbers, backstabbers. They smile in your face. But you got to believe in yourself. You got to do what you got to do. Because nobody's coming to save your ass. Nobody gives a fuck. They got their own shit to care about. So get a little bit more selfish. Stay humble. Stay secure with yourself. Recognize that you have everything it takes to get to where you want to get to. Believe. Believe in yourself. Believe that God, Grand Architect, Gandhi, Buddha, whoever you pray to, Sky Daddy, whoever you pray to, did not bring you this far to leave you. And always remember, stop sitting on those skills and talents that could change your life. And remember, don't quit 5 minutes before the miracle mix. Get this money pregnant, not these women. And that's the isms for the day. That's the isms. The isms, huh? The Don isms. 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 The Don isms. I kind of like the light changing in the back a little bit. I'm not even going to lie. Even though I kind of just wanted it to stay one color. But, hey, it is what it is today. They smile in your face. Backstabbers. Backstabbers. All right, the origins of Black History Month. Let's go. This article is brought to us by ASLNH.org. Where does it? ASLNH is the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History. So that is the organization. All right, let's get into it. This is written by Daryl Michael Scott, who is the ASALH former national president. Let's talk about it. Because this is important. This is important for Black people, people of African descent or descendants of slaves, ADOS. This is important. Aboriginal people, this is important. So let's talk about it. The story of Black History Month begins in Chicago during the summer of 1915. An alumnus of the University of Chicago, with many friends in the city, Carter G. Woodson traveled from Washington, D.C. to participate in a national celebration of the 15th anniversary of emancipation, sponsored by the state of Illinois. Thousands of African Americans traveled from across the country to see exhibits highlighting the progress that people had made since the destruction of slavery. Awarded a doctorate in Harvard 3 years earlier, Woodson joined the other exhibitors with a Black History display. Despite being held at the Coliseum, the site of the 1912 Republican Convention, an overflow crowd of 6,000 to 12,000 waited outside for their turn to view the exhibits. Inspired by the 3-week celebration, Woodson decided to form an organization to promote the scientific study of Black life and history before leaving town. On September 9th, Woodson met at the Wabash YMCA with a L. Jackson, and three others, and formed the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History, ASNLH. He hoped that others would popularize the findings that he and other black intellectuals would publish in the Journal of Negro History, which he established in 1916. As early as 1920, Woodson urged black civic organizations to promote the achievements that researchers were uncovering. A graduate member of Omega Psi Phi, he urged his fraternity brothers. I'm not a Q. I'm not a Q dog. Anyways, he urged his fraternity brothers to take up the work. In 1924, they responded with the creation of Negro History and Literature Week, which they renamed Negro Achievement Week. Their outreach was significant, but Woodson desired greater impact. As he told an audience of Hampton Institute, that's the school I went to, Hampton University, HIU, you got to cheat to beat a pirate. But as he told an audience of Hampton Institute students, we are going back to that beautiful history, and it's going to inspire us to greater achievements. In 1925, he decided that the association had to shoulder the responsibility. Going forward, it would both create and popularize knowledge about the black past. He sent out a press release announcing Negro History Week in February 1926. Woodson chose February for reasons of tradition and reform. It is commonly said that Woodson selected February to encompass the birthday of two great Americans who played a prominent role in the shaping of black history, namely Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass, whose birthdays are the 12th and the 14th, respectively. More importantly, he chose them for reasons of tradition. Since Lincoln's assassination in 1965, the black community, along with other Republicans, had been celebrating the fallen president's birthday. And since the late 1890s, black communities across the country had been celebrating Douglass. Well aware of the pre-existing celebrations, Woodson built Negro History Week around traditional days of commemorating the black past. He was asking the public to extend their study of black history, not to create a new tradition. In doing so, he increased his chances for success. Yet, Woodson was up to something more than building on tradition. Without saying so, he aimed to reform it from the study of two great men to a great race. Though he admired both men, Woodson had never been fond of the celebrations held in their honor. He railed against the ignorant spellbinders who addressed large convivial gatherings and displayed their lack of knowledge about the men and their contributions to history. More importantly, Woodson believed that history was made by the people, not simply or primarily by great men. He envisioned the study and celebration of the Negro as a race, not simply as the producers of a great man. And Lincoln, however great, had not freed the slaves. The Union Army, including hundreds of thousands of black soldiers and sailors, had done that. Rather than focusing on two men, the black community, he believed, should focus on the countless black men and women who had contributed to the advance of human civilization. From the beginning, Woodson was overwhelmed by the response to his call. Negro History Week appeared across the country in schools and before the public. The 1920s was the decade of the new Negro, a name given to the post-War I generation because of its rising racial pride and consciousness. Urbanization and industrialization have brought over 1 million African Americans from the rural South into big cities of the nation. The expanding black middle class became participants in and consumers of black literature and culture. Black history clubs sprang up. Teachers demanded materials to instruct their pupils, and progressive whites stepped and endorsed the efforts. Woodson and the associates scrambled to meet the demand. They set a theme for the annual celebration and provided study materials, pictures, lessons for teachers, plays for historical performances, and posters of important dates and people. Provisioned With a steady flow of knowledge, high schools and progressive communities formed Negro history clubs to serve the desire of history buffs to participate in the re-education of black folks in the nation. ASNLH formed branches that stretch from coast to coast. In 1937, at the urging of Mary McLeod Bethune, Woodson established the Negro History Bulletin, which focused on the annual theme. As black populations grew, mayors issued Negro History Week proclamations, and in cities like Syracuse, progressive whites joined Negro History Week with National Brotherhood Week. Like most ideas that resonate with the spirit of the times, Negro History Week proved to be more dynamic than Woodson or the association could control. By the 1930s, Woodson complained about the intellectual charlatans, black and white, popping up everywhere seeking to take advantage of the public interest in black history. He warned teachers not to invite speakers who had less knowledge than the students themselves. Increasingly, publishing houses that had previously ignored black topics and authors rushed to put books on the market and in the schools. Money grab. Instant experts appeared everywhere, and non-scholarly works appeared from mushroom presses. In America, nothing popular escapes either commercialization or eventual trivialization. Ugh. And so Woodson, the constant reformer, had his hands full in promoting celebrations worthy of the people who had made the history. Well before his death in 1950, Woodson believed that the weekly celebrations, not the study or celebration of black history, would eventually come to an end. In fact, Woodson never viewed black history as a one-week affair. He pressed for schools to use Negro History Week to demonstrate what students learned all year. In the same vein, he established a Black Studies Extension program to reach adults throughout the year. It was in this sense that blacks would learn of their past on a daily basis that he looked forward to the time when an annual celebration would no longer be necessary. Generations before Morgan Freeman and other advocates of all year commemorations, Woodson believed that black history was too important to America and that the world to be crammed into a limited time frame. He spoke of a shift from Negro History Week to Negro History Year. Whew. In the 1940s, efforts began slowly within the black community to expand the study of black history in the schools and black history celebrations before the public. In the South, black teachers often taught Negro history as a supplement to United States history. One early beneficiary of the movement reported that his teacher would hide Woodson's textbook beneath his desk to avoid drawing the wrath of the principal. During the Civil Rights Movement in the South, the Freedom Schools incorporated black history into the curriculum to advance social change. The Negro History Movement was an intellectual insurgency that was part of every larger effort to transform race relations. The 1960s had a dramatic effect on the study and celebration of black history. Before the decade was over, Negro History Week would be well on its way to becoming Black History Month. The shift to a month-long celebration began even before Dr. Woodson's death. As early as 1940s, blacks in West Virginia, a state where Woodson often spoke, began to celebrate February as Negro History Month. In Chicago, a now forgotten cultural activist, Frederick H. Hammurabi, started celebrating Negro History Month in the mid-1960s. Having taken an African name in the 1930s, Hammurabi used his cultural center, the House of Knowledge, to fuse African consciousness with the study of the black past. By the late 1960s, as young blacks on college campuses became increasingly conscious of links with Africa, Black History Month replaced Negro History Week at a quickening pace. Within the association, younger intellectuals, part of the awakening, prodded Woodson's organization to change with the times. They succeeded. In 1976, 50 years after the first celebration, the association used its influence to institutionalize the shifts from a week to a month and from Negro history to Black history. Since the mid 1970s, every American president, Democrat and Republican, has issued proclamations endorsing the association's annual theme. What Carter G. Woodson would say about the continued celebrations is unknown, but he would smile on all his honest efforts to make Black history a field of serious study and provide the public with thoughtful celebrations. And there you have it. Black History Month is well important. I don't even need to explain why. Hell, we deserve a whole year. We deserve a whole century. We deserve a whole decade. But it's all good. All right. American Airlines pilot strikes. United tug at O'Hare. Driver critically injured, officials say. Let's talk about it.
Well, certainly some scary moments for the operations crews here at O'Hare Airport. We know a 64-year-old is in the hospital with some critical injuries after operating a tug which collided with an aircraft on the runway while passengers were on board. Now, we know those tugs are those aircraft towing vehicles that work all along the runway, and in this case, it was operated by United and one of its employees. Chicago police say the plane was taxiing after landing as the wing of the aircraft hit the tug while the driver attempted to cross the runway. Police say that's when the vehicle flipped over and pinned the 64-year-old man underneath. He was taken to Luther General Hospital with some head and lower body injuries. Police say the man has been stabilized, though. American Airlines confirms this was one of their aircraft, an Air Wisconsin flight that had just landed in Chicago from Kalamazoo, Michigan. American Airlines just sharing a statement with us saying, in part, nothing is more important than the safety of our customers and team members, and we are reviewing this incident. So, the accident.
It's very unfortunate that this happened. Like he said, safety is the number one issue. It's a law of the land, safety, especially in those blue collar type of jobs and environments. Safety is number one. Safety is law of land, period. Doesn't matter, blue collar, white collar, red collar, red neck, red skin, purple skin, blue skin. Doesn't matter. Safety, number one overall. Now, we'll get more information on this situation as they do more investigations. But communication, and being aware. We don't know whose fault this was because we don't have all the camera angles and everything like that. And once again, they haven't completed their investigation. But whatever you're doing, please be aware, be safe, double, triple check, take your time. Don't let anybody rush you. I know that at least in aviation industry, it's a time crunch. Everything has to run concurrently. And things happen all the time, just like this week. Things have been just happening. Even though I don't really believe in coincidences, but things have just been happening in aviation this week. But please, take your time, be safe. Always double, triple, quadruple check. Because I don't, according to this article, the man's in critical condition. I don't know. I don't even want to speak anything on that man's life. Let's just hope and pray for this man that he makes a speedy recovery. He gets back on his feet and he gets back to 100% in health. But please be safe when you're working jobs like this, because this could have been his part-time job. This could have been his full-time job. This could have, going back to this being his part-time job, this could have just been something that he was working just to get out the house. Because he's 64, he made all his money, he won flight benefits, so he's just working, pushing back planes, etc. And for something like this to happen, trust me, I've had plenty of jobs where I work with older people who their day job was the breadwinner, and then their nighttime job was just a job that they would just all the money they made, they would just put that over in a little stash pot, and then as soon as they got to their goal, then they would go travel and do whatever they wanted to do or go buy something with that money. So that might have been the case with this guy right here. So please, please, please be safe. As we get more information on this story, then if I feel the need to revisit it, then I'll revisit it. But please send a prayer up for this gentleman. What do they provide his name up here? They do not provide his name up here. No, they do not. They do not provide his name up here. But once again, I can't harp on this enough. Safety is the law of the land. All right. Child among 7 dead, unalived. 19 injured in Philly plane crash, but the numbers could still rise. It has been a trying week in aviation. It's still the safest mode of transportation. So many hands touch these planes. So many rules and regulations are put into place to make sure that as soon as you, as in the customer, gets off the plane and that plane gets back to that gate so more customers can get on it, so many rules, regulations, and hands touch that plane to make sure that it is fueled, it is oiled, it is inspected, it is tightened and torqued and lubricated and stretched, and I'm not gonna say maneuvered, but the regular checks on flight controls and things like that are extended and retracted to ensure that when the customer gets back on that plane, that it's a-okay and that plane does not come out the sky. So it's unfortunate when things like this happen. It's so unfortunate. Now, before I get into the article, let's take a look at let's take a look at the plane type of plane that they were on. So they were on a Lear Jet 55. So this is the type of plane that they were on right here. And this seems to be the plane right here. But this is what it looks like right here. All right, let's go into it. Let's get into it. All right, the crash and resulting explosion of a medical transport jet in Philly left a massive impact on the surrounding neighborhood, and the scope of the devastation started to become more clear on Saturday. All 6 people on board the plane are dead or unalived, and 1 person on the ground inside a vehicle was unalived in Friday's crash. At least 19 others were injured, Philly Mayor Sherrell Parker said during a briefing Saturday morning. Officials did not specify the extent of those injuries, but did say the injury and death toll could change, adding that it could be days or more before we know the totals for sure. Jefferson's Health told the news that they provided care for 15 individuals and 12 have since been discharged. Thank you, Lord. 2 people have been admitted for further care, and 1 patient was transferred to another hospital. A large fire burned in the wake of the crash, prompting a significant response. Vehicles, homes, and even people in the area could be seen on fire. Sheesh. Oh, man. That's why stop sitting on your talents and skills that could change your life. Why? because you don't know who you'll be 5, 10, 12, 15 years from now. So don't quit 5 minutes before the miracle mix. Get this money pregnant, not these women. Officials said 5 structures were ablaze after the crash, which have all been extinguished. Let's check it out.
Continue to follow the breaking news on the crash of that medical jet in Northeast Philadelphia.
A Learjet 55 went down around 6 o'clock last night, shortly after departing from Northeast Philadelphia Airport with 6 people on board. Ring camera footage shows the plane descending before a massive explosion. A large fire burned in the wake of the crash, prompting a significant response from emergency crews. Vehicles in this area could be seen on fire. Police said multiple people on the ground were hurt, and we spoke with witnesses who detailed what exactly they saw in the aftermath.
There was a fireball, there was debris everywhere, there was people running back and forth, there was so much stuff happening at once.
I do want to say shout out to the Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and the gang for getting back to the Super Bowl. I think this is the second time out of 3 years. Shout out to y'all.
And it was just very graphic.
There is no word at this time on what caused the jet to go down. Right now, we do know that there are multiple investigations underway. The NTSB will have boots on the ground today to determine the exact cause of the crash. And Chopper 6 is live over the scene right now here in Northeast Philadelphia, where crews, they cleared out for the night as those fires were put out. But you can see in this area that there is just debris scattered across the roadway. We do know that officials are expected to hold a news conference this morning to bring us the latest in this investigation, but obviously this is an investigation that will span blocks here in Northeast Philadelphia and is sure to take a significant amount of time.
And once again, this is another case where you got to find the black box and figure out exactly what's going on. The black box is going to be the indicator and the starting point of the investigation of what exactly happened to this aircraft to cause it to go down. Because planes don't just go down just to go down. They don't. Like I said, and like I will continue to say, is that flying on these jets, these planes aren't designed to be on the ground. They're designed to be in the air and stay in the air. Flying is the safest mode of transportation. It's more car crashes than it is airplane crashes. It's just that when planes crash, it's a whole lot more people perishing at one time. So, of course, it's going to be clutching pearls. And I understand. It's nothing to just be like, oh, well, let me just throw that over my shoulder. Get the dirt off my shoulder. It's not even that type of case. And I don't even want to make it sound like that. But I'm just saying. Planes don't just go down for no reason.
It's starting to appear that we're getting to look at some of the parts and pieces of this medical aircraft right there near the crosswalk near Cottman and the Boulevard. We do have team coverage as we continue to follow this breaking news. Let's begin with Action News reporter Becca Hendrickson, who's live at the scene right at the perimeter at Cottman Avenue. Becca.
Maggie, like you said, I'm at Cottman and the Boulevard, only really a couple feet from where this tragedy happened yesterday. We've seen more police officers come onto the scene as the morning comes on. Investigators, of course, keep.
She looked cold, like you know that type of cold where the wind is just blowing into your face and it's getting caught up your nostrils and it's just so hard to breathe because the wind's in your face and it's cold. So the cold's making you cry involuntarily. And you're trying so hard to stay warm because she looked like she's trying to be warm. She got a nice coat on. But she looks cold. She looks like she don't want to be there. She's like, well, I got a good job, but And I got to report on something that I really don't want to report on, but it's cold. I'd rather be in my house, in her snuggie probably, with her man or her cat, and a warm cup of Starbucks.
A tight perimeter around the debris field. Investigators, including from the FBI, NTSB, coming out to the scene this morning to really determine.
You see her shaking her head? She said, no, 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 no. I don't want to be out here in this cold.
Exactly what happened here as a plane fell from the sky, causing devastation. We all know how busy the boulevard is, how many businesses are in the area, how many houses are in the area, just how heavily traveled it is, and how many people were impacted. And the video, just shocking. Take a look at the neighborhood surveillance video. The moment that plane crashed from this ring video, the impact, devastation, a massive fireball exploding in the sky. That's happened between 6 and 6:30 last night on the boulevard near Cottman Avenue. A medical transport plane with 6 people on board, a child, a pediatric patient, her mother, and 4.
Yeah, y'all would have had to check my silk boxes that night. It would have been all dripping down my legs if I would have just so happened to come outside to get a nice stretch outside in some fresh air, cold northeast Philly air, Super Bowl air. And as soon as I turn my head, it looks like a nuke just got dropped in my city. Yeah, y'all would have had to come get me up off the ground and bring a towel, cause I would have messed all on my leg. It would have been dripping. My clothes would have been stuck to me.
Crew members, all of whom were not expected to survive. It was a Learjet 55 that had just left Northeast Airport, according to authorities, on its way to Springfield Branson National Airport in Missouri. And this video from Chopper 6, we see the massive crater in the ground, the pieces of the plane surrounding it, the burn-up cars from the impact of this fire, the devastation that this crash caused in such a busy area. Prompted, of course, the massive response of law enforcement officers, firefighters, state troopers, PennDOT, the DEP, other organizations, NTSB, FBI, so many different authorities on the ground here trying to figure out exactly what happened, creating this safety perimeter. The number of fatalities and injuries still unknown at this point.
Yeah, that's just crazy, man. It's like I said, stop sitting on those skills and those talents. Get to it. You see, I'm living in my dream right now. I'm getting right to it, cause I don't know. This world is so unpredictable. My life has been totally 100% unpredictable. You can plan and try to plan as much as you think you can possibly. But you never know what's going to happen, when things are going to take that turn. You never know. I bring light to topics like this to remind everybody. Don't take it for granted. Do not take it for granted. I'm trying to tell you, do not take it for granted. So stop sitting on those skills and those talents that could change your life. You don't know who you're going to be 5, 10, 7, 12 years from now. Don't quit 5 minutes before the miracle mix. Get that money pregnant, not these women.
Right now, we're just asking for prayers for any and everyone who may have been affected. We do want to note that several dwellings and vehicles were impacted. So what are we asking you to do for us right now, Philadelphia? We're urging you to please stay away from the scene. If you see debris, call 911. don't touch anything.
That's a
There
really
you go.
important point from the mayor there. That debris.
And the reason she's saying don't touch anything is because the police, and I want to assume the FAA, I'll just assume the FAA, they have to do a thorough investigation on why the plane fell out the sky. Not that far from the airport as well. So they got to retrieve all the pieces of the plane, put it back together as best they can, and go from there.
Debris needs to be handled by the authorities coming out here to investigate this scene. They need to be able to get their hands on it to figure out exactly what happened, what caused this tragedy. We are here at Cotman and the Boulevard waiting for more answers, expecting that press briefing around 9 a.m. this morning. For now, live here on the Boulevard, Becca Hendrickson, Channel 6 Action News. Maggie and Caroline.
What a massive and devastating scene there. Thank you, Becca.
Let's go now to Action News reporter Corey Davis. He is also live on the scene now where the force of the explosion just sent debris flying all over across the area. Corey, kind of bring us up to speed on what it looks like where you are this morning.
Maggie, we're at Cotman Avenue and Bustleton. Take a look behind us. This is really a straight view of the majority of the scene here, spanning several blocks here along the Roosevelt Mall where we are at the moment. Witnesses have been giving us firsthand accounts of disturbing scenes that they saw out here after that plane went down in this area. This is a very busy area, of course, with a lot of traffic during the height of rush hour. Restaurants and homes around here too. First-hand accounts giving descriptions of hearing the explosion and then seeing debris just raining down onto people, cars, and the homes and businesses out there.
That looks like straight pandemonium right there.
At Cotman and Bustleton, as well as the McDonald's over at Cotman, and
all the businesses that got wrecked, all the people whose personal property tragically was burned. I hope the city reimburses you guys. Rest in peace to the victims. And let's pray for Philly. So with that being said, I'm forever the senator of smooth and rude. Hold on, you know I got to play my music. I don't play it all the time, but I might as well go ahead and play it now. Once again, like you guys know, forever, I'm the senator of smooth and rude. Deserve style, your internet cousin. Also, stop sitting on your talents and skills that could change your life. You don't know when it'll be taken away from you. When you're in pursuit, don't quit 5 minutes before the miracle mix. Why? Because you don't know who you'll be 10, 15, 20 years from now. Get this money pregnant, not these women. Stay envious, be safe, take your time, stay dangerous, and travel light. Signal out.